Okay. I think I got this thing working, which is a miracle. Last week I tried to have Marnie join and that didn't work, unfortunately, but I think I have it figured out this week. So Sarah from Mindful Miles is hopping on here. I see that I think it is actually working, and her and I are gonna go live here in a second. I'm going to add her to the stream, and Sarah is an awesome running coach, and you guys are going to learn so much from her. Hi, it's working. Can you hear me?
It's working. We got it to work. I can hear you. There's a little bit of a delay, but we will work through it.
Okay, I'm so happy because last week I could not figure this out for the life of me. So this is
progress. We're already starting on a high note.
Yes, yay! You know what, guys? This is a lesson to be learned. Just because you have a bad run, you can't figure something out, you feel like you failed, you just keep trying, and eventually you figure out how to use Facebook Live.
Exactly.
Okay, guys, so we're using a special app called StreamYard. So if you want your name to show up when you're leaving comments, you just have to like download the app. There should be a link there, but otherwise we can see your comments, so it's all good. So Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and you know, your company and why you started Mindful Miles?
Yes, I would love to. Thank you. So hello, everyone. My name is Sarah. I have been a runner my entire life. So I ran competitively in high school and throughout college. And for me, I was always incredibly hard on myself. And I never thought twice about it, just because I was always in competitive settings. So I thought it was very normal that I was so hard on myself. And I just thought that was what everyone did. So a couple of years after college, when I was talking to other runners about it, I found that we all had this common thread. Whether we were going for distance or speed, or we were just trying to keep in shape, I found that we were all incredibly, incredibly hard on ourselves. And the way I think about it is, and this is why Serena and I connected, because the way we look at eating and the way we look at exercise is, you have to do something. If you got to eat, you got to run or exercise, you got to do something. So if you're going to do that, why would you be hard on yourself? You want to enjoy it. You want to set yourself up for success, and you really want to feel good. And so this is, I mean, I know it sounds easy, but it's been hard. It's been a challenge for me. And so how I came to finding Mindful Miles was about this time last year. I was training for my first marathon, and I mean, that's already a sore subject with many runners, but I was training for my first marathon, and I decided I'm not going to approach racing or training the way I used to. I'm sick of being hard on myself. And for what? I mean, it's great that we all have support systems and that people care about us and want to see how we did, but majority of us, we're not going to the Olympics. We don't have endorsement deals. We're not going to lose our jobs if we don't perform. So why don't we enjoy the process? Why don't we enjoy the race festivities and being on our feet and all of the things that we know we really shouldn't do, but we like it, so why not? And so I just approached all of my training by thinking and checking in with myself and saying, is this something I really want to do? Does this feel right? I'm not going to think about pace. I'm not going to worry about the mileage. That will come. But right now, for me, I'm going to focus on feeling good and enjoying it. And so what happened was I started running really fast, and I was healthier and stronger and injury free. And I thought, this is insane. Like, why aren't we all doing this? So that's how Mindful Miles came to be. What it is it's a positive approach to running that really encourages you to reframe the way you view exercise. So whether you are a new runner or a lifelong runner, what I really want to help you do and help you focus on is having fun and getting rid of all of those ridiculous things that you tell yourself. So another thing that I hear a lot, which I'm not going to shame anyone, but I just suggest that we learn to reframe this, is when people talk about running, they say, I'm not a runner or I'm not a good runner. Ladies, gentlemen, if you have a body and if you have lungs, you are a runner. You do not have to be fast. You do not have to be skinny. You do not have to be anything. You just have to be you, and you have to enjoy it. So that's what Mindful Miles is. I can go on forever and ever, but yes, that's essentially what it is.
Awesome. I love that so much. And I am so guilty of like falling down that same rabbit hole where, I'm not hitting my splits, I'm not hitting my times that I at once was capable of hitting. And, it can very quickly take the love of the sport away from you if all you're doing is fixating on, am I running as fast as I used to run? And, we all go through different times in our life where sometimes we have the time to train consistently and do the track workouts and do all this like work towards our goal. And then sometimes running just has to serve as like part of your lifestyle, which is like right now where I'm at, where I'm using it to de-stress and it's a source of like fun and enjoyment for me, but it's not necessarily something that I'm using to like train my body to get faster at this moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly.
I preach. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. For me and for many people, running is our outlet. It's what we do for us. So I have a full-time job. I have family. I have people that I need to support. So when I need something for me to help me feel recharged, I go on a run. When I need to think or clear my head, I go on a run. When I want to feel strong and powerful and, confident, I go on a run. But it's a very fine line, because if that's the only thing you have and you're constantly going on that run and you kind of start to abuse it, then that's taken away from you. And now what do you have? Because then you start getting hard on yourself. And if running is all you have, you got to learn how to reframe that. And like you said, maybe right now your goal isn't to get faster, and that's great. Your goal shouldn't always be to get faster. Your goal should be, to enjoy the run, to think about why you're doing it or what it is that you want to get out of it. So it's really great that you think of it that way. And that's something that a lot of people have been coming to me with recently, is the constant need to feel like they need to be faster. And that's great. We all love to run fast, but that's not the only thing that running gives you. And so I ask everyone to think about that. Yes, we want to get fast, but what are the other success metrics that we get out of running? Does it make you feel good? Does it give you confidence? Do you get really great ideas when you're on a run? Things like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know it's kind of counter to what we are discussing right now, but I did have someone comment asking Coach Sarah, she wanted to know, is the only way that we can get faster, is it by doing track workouts and tempo runs, or are there other ways to get faster? So I wanted you to answer that for us today, Sarah.
Yes, I did see that question too. And I think there's a lot of different factors that go into it. So without knowing your current training cycle, I may or may not be able to help you with this. So feel free to add clarifying questions to the comments or DM me after this if you have more questions. But if you are just going on normal runs every day, so say you go for 30 minutes 3 times a week, and that's all you do, then you probably will not be getting faster. And it's fine. But if you do want to get faster, you should look to implement some speed work. So that can be a track workout where you're practicing getting faster. If you're not training for a specific race, I really suggest going on a tempo run or a fartlek run. Those are really great, because what you want to do is you want to practice feeling uncomfortable. So how you get faster is your body has to know what that new pace that you're going for feels like. So a tempo run is great because you get that warm up in, and say for like a mile or so, again, depending on your current mileage, you really go at it. You say, I'm going to run a 1 mile warm up, 1 mile at tempo. And so for those of you that don't know, tempo it's not quite race pace, but it's definitely uncomfortable. So a good way to think about it is anywhere between like 10 to 20 seconds faster than whatever your average is. So it's not something that you can do comfortably. It's not something you can sustain for long, but it's a great way to get your body feeling what that faster speed feels like. And so by implementing those into your workouts, your average pace will naturally get faster.
I love that advice. I didn't even know that. I think that's so awesome. So 10 to 20 seconds faster, and just implementing those time blocks like into your tempo run and practicing that speed for a while.
Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah. And I think another thing too is a lot of people don't really know what their average is. And that's fine. I am a big advocate, especially right now, since there aren't races, for doing blind miles. So that's either running without a watch or just putting tape over your watch and not even looking at it at all. And I really think that everyone should practice this, because you want to get to know your body. And so if you go out for a run and you are heaving, like absolutely heaving, dying to catch your breath, that means you're going way too fast. You've hit your aerobic capacity way too quickly. You're starting to build lactic acid in your legs, and you're going to hit the wall. So if you're heaving, maybe bring it back a little bit and think, okay, could I get out 1 or 2 words? If you can get out 1 or 2 words, that's fine. Keep it there. If I can't talk, if I can barely breathe, slow down a little bit. If I could get a sentence or two in, maybe think about speeding up a little bit. But I think that's a really great way to look at it, is you want to think about the way you're feeling. Another thing that you can try to do to work on speed is, again, since there's no races right now, use different objects as like motivating factors. So I'm going to stare at that stop sign, and from here into the stop sign, I'm going to time myself and see how quickly I can get to it. Or I see that runner ahead of me and I'm going to try and beat her, even though she doesn't know we're racing. So that's something you can do to just kind of keep it fun and keep it light. But I did want to hit on too, with getting faster, you really need to think about your recovery, your rest, and your nutrition as well. Because so many people, myself included, and this is why I'm so grateful to have Serena, so many people hit the wall, and it's because there's so much more to your running and your racing than just running alone. So your recovery and your rest is really important. You shouldn't be going at all out efforts, every single day. I don't run every day. Some people feel like they need to run every day. And if that's your thing, if you're just going like for a mile or two and that's like your easy day, no problem. But really, you want to make sure that your body's recovering. If you're supposed to run on a Wednesday and you wake up Wednesday and it's just not happening, give yourself that grace. It's fine. You don't have to run. But then in addition to that too, rest is really important. You want to get sleep. I love getting 9 hours. Sometimes that's impossible, but anywhere between 7 to 9 hours. I mean, there's different articles everywhere that what's recommended, but just as much as you can get, that's always recommended. And then again, nutrition. So what you're eating before your run, what you're eating after your run, what you're going to give yourself to fuel your body to feel good. But then also, like, if you want to have something that's maybe not super healthy, but you love it and it's a great treat and you enjoy it, like, go for it. Why not?
Yeah, I love that. I always say resting is training. And, something that I always work on with my clients is it's not only about, thinking about nutrition, what are you eating, but it's also about this whole picture, right? So are you chronically stressed? Are you super rigid where if you miss a run on Wednesday, you like hate yourself and you're beating yourself up, right? That's not a healthy relationship with running or your body. So we work on fixing that, right? Same with the nutrition component. If you're restricting or if you're finding yourself in this pattern where you're binging and you're having this really disordered relationship with food, we have to kind of step back and ask, like, why is this happening, right? Because there is a way to fix it. It's not just something like we have to accept, like, this, it is what it is. I'm a runner and therefore I get really hungry and I can't stop myself. Like, that is absolutely not the case. We can work on that together as a team. So guys, if you're watching live and you have questions, please feel free to ask. Coach Sarah would be super happy to answer them. But why don't we dive a little bit into your training program that I know is starting like right now? Can you tell everyone about your 5K and your 10K training program you have?
Yes, absolutely. So this Monday, we will be starting our next wave of training, and it's for literally every walk of life. We have people that are walkers and have no interest in running just yet. We have people that are coming back from injury. We have people that are really interested in learning how to run without walking. And then we also have, some people that are looking to hit pretty intense time goals that they just want to PR and see what they're capable of. So what we're going to be doing is starting Monday, Serena and I will be working together on Mindful Miles Run Club. And what that is it's training, it's community, it's whatever you want to make it. So at the very least, it's me as your coach to give you guidance and to help you figure out what your true north is, what your happiness is when it comes to running. So what you can expect from this is every Sunday, what I do with my athletes is I send them their workouts for the week. This is suggested and I drum it in their heads because, again, we want to promote a healthy relationship with running. So if I tell you to run 4 or 5 days a week, one week you may say, heck yes, I've got this. The next week you may say, it's not happening. And that's perfectly fine. And so that's what we work on together. We figure out how to get you training, happy, and enjoying running. But then we also have a couple of additional things too. So what I do is I film something called a workout of the week and I send it out to all of the athletes. And what that is essentially is we're focusing on targeting certain muscle groups that are pretty prone to injury and weak within runners, and we're going to work together on strengthening them. So again, it's completely optional. Those that want a little bit more in their workout are able to do it. Those that have a cross training day are able to do it. So it's just something for everyone to have and to kind of keep in their arsenal of ways to keep themselves healthy and ways to keep themselves active if they wish on their rest days. But then again, what we also do is we focus heavily on the community, because we all know that having someone to run with makes it so much more fun. And while I wish I could run with every single one of you, that's just not possible. So we have a Facebook group where we all really cheer each other on, but we also have accountability partners and accountability squads where I pair you with someone new each week, and you get to chat about, what your training is, and you get to talk about if you were able to make it out that day and what your highlights and what your lowlights were. That way you have someone to talk with other than me, and you have someone to go through the program with other than me, and you get to know each person individually. But then what I'm most excited about, our newest addition, is having Serena on the team. She's going to be our team nutritionist. So what Serena will be doing is, in addition to the weekly workouts you get from me, she'll be giving you weekly tips on how to best train your body with nutrition and with the right foods. And we'll be going live once a week. So we'll be tackling, hot topics that people send in to us, like hydrating for runs or eating after runs. And then from there, we'll kind of open it up to our community to have a Q&A and to talk about the hard things that maybe we don't really want to talk about, because it's, it can be a little icky, but we've all been there and we're ready to dive in.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so excited. I definitely have been feeling the blues of kind of feeling alone and quarantine. So I'm super excited that Sarah invited me to be a part of her incredible community of athletes. And I love doing these kind of trainings. So I'm super excited to vibe with Sarah. Sarah also is an intuitive eater. So we're definitely on the same page when it comes to, I love that she said she likes to help you guys reframe your view of exercise, because I kind of going to steal your words here, Sarah. I feel like I'm trying to constantly help you guys reframe the way you see food, right? We're so taught to restrict it. And Sarah and I in our trainings, we're going to help show you that food is fuel, and it's going to help you, fuel all these awesome training plans that Sarah is going to be writing for you guys. So it looks like Mark has a question. I know Mark is training for a marathon. He is a freaking incredible athlete. He ran 17 miles last weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's awesome. So he says, hi, Sarah. I often go out too fast on my long runs. I'm trying to find a way to slow down so in the first miles, and I have energy in the tank towards the end. Any tips or suggestions?
Yes, Mark, you're not alone. Everyone does this. I harp on my runners about doing this all the time. First of all, I will say try to go out slower. Yes, it's a no-brainer, but you should try to go out slower for many reasons. First of all, if you do warm up before your runs, really great on you, but most people don't, and you're most likely to get injured if you just go out for your run right away rather than if you give yourself the proper time to warm up. A 5 to 10 minute warm up is really great, but when you're out there running for 17 miles, you kind of just want to go and get it over with. So what I suggest to everyone is, when you go out for your run, that first 10 minutes, start and then immediately feel yourself feel your pace and then pull yourself back. So whatever, don't even look at your pace. So get out there, slow down, and you really want to feel like you are physically holding yourself back, because whatever that pace is, it's faster than what it should be, because you're excited to get the run started. You're excited to get going. Maybe you're excited to just get it over with. But that'll really help set you up.
Immediately feel it.
Oh, I'm getting a little feedback, but I'll keep going. And so by doing that, it'll set you up for success in the long runs. In addition to that, you should really consider hydrating. I'm not sure what your hydration practice is during runs, but if you bring water with you, that's great. I suggest anything over 45 minutes, you should have water. Anything over an hour, you should consider having some sort of electrolytes or gels. So again, just depending on what your stomach can handle, but anything with caffeine, some carbs, some potassium, a little sugar would go a long way.
Yeah, excellent question. So it sounds like part of it is just practice makes perfect, Mark, right? So you're training for a marathon, and I know you've trained for it before, but I think like running fast is so fun, and it's like so you feel so powerful, right? It's like tricky, right? It's like the allure of running fast. It's like the allure of dieting, right? You're like, ooh, I want to do this sexy, cool thing. But you really do need to kind of take a step back and think about, okay, well, how am I going to feel at mile 12, at mile 13, at mile 17? So I love that. And yeah, definitely hydration, fueling, that's going to make such a major difference in how you feel on your long runs, Mark. So if you need help with that, be sure to reach out to me. Let's see, I know Christina asked a question too. She's asking, when she's running aerobically, is that what's going to get my heart rate to drop at a faster pace? And I was trying to reply to ask her to clarify, but then I messed up our little feedback here. So I'm trying to see, do you mean, Christina, like long term, you want your resting heart rate to decrease? Do you kind of understand her question, Sarah?
I'm not sure, but we'll see if we get a comment as we go. So I think heart rate running is very tricky, just because there's so many different devices and not all of them are completely accurate. I run with a Garmin and it takes my heart rate monitor on my wrist. It's helpful, but I don't always like to go by heart rate just because it can be inaccurate. And I've been a slave to the watch for a very long time. And so now I try to kind of release that. So again, with heart rate, you just want to focus on feel, maybe even take your actual heart rate as you're going just to check in with yourself. I'm not sure if that answers the question though, but I do think by implementing some tempo runs too, to try to practice getting your heart rate up and getting you going faster, it'll help your resting heart rate as well.
Yeah, Christina, if you're watching, clarify, but I'm not sure what you're asking, but yeah, I think Sarah answered the question. We're basically just like getting more mileage in and then practicing like getting that heart rate up and then calming back down, let it calming back down. That's going to help with getting like a lower resting heart rate, if that's what you're asking. I'm not quite sure. Okay, she said, like, I generally run slower, 12-minute miles, my heart rate stays around 145. Is it possible that once I get faster, it'll stay in that area?
Yes. So as your average mile gets faster, your heart rate should adjust to that. So if you're running a 12-minute mile now and you go out at an 11-minute mile, your heart rate is going to spike. But as you continue to train, when your mileage gets lower, your heart rate should lower along with it. One thing I will caution though is you want to be really careful about how much speed work you're doing. With my athletes, I really implement about 7 to 10% of their total weekly mileage as speed work. With women specifically, we're really prone to hip injury, so I try to be very careful about how much pounding we are getting on our joints. So some people like to program 2 days of speed work. I personally prefer 1. That's entirely up to you and what works for your body, but just try to be mindful of how much speed you're implementing into your workouts, because too much of it can be harmful.
Awesome advice. I love that. Lucy is asking, some said that we have to run up to 40 miles a week to become a better runner. That seems like too much to me. I like 20 to 30 miles. What is a solid run mileage schedule?
Lucy, if you say 20 to 30 miles, it's 20 to 30 miles. Seriously, everybody is different. And if you pay attention to some of like the world's great marathoners, they all have very different training cycles because our bodies respond differently to different workloads. So some people can handle more speed, some people can handle higher mileage like it's nothing. So it really just depends on what your body responds to. If you've tried a 40-mile week and it just didn't work, then scale back again. Another thing that you guys want to focus on too when you're implementing higher mileage, you want to go about it very, very gradually. So don't run 10 miles this week, 20 miles the next week, 25 miles the following week. You really want to make sure that you're increasing your mileage by, again, no more than 10% a week. It really stinks for when you do want to hit higher mileage and it takes you a while to get there. But again, it's what you got to do in order to limit any injuries. But yes, if 20 to 30 feels great, you can still be a fantastic runner at 20 to 30 miles a week.
I love that. And I think, again, it gets really confusing because we all want this like external validation. And I think it's partially just human nature. And then I think it's partially because of the culture we live in, where I'm checking my Apple Watch, I'm checking my Fitness Pal, I'm checking, for all these external metrics of like, am I good enough? When really, guys, this is taking us away from our interoceptive awareness, which is something I use in nutrition practice, where I'm teaching people to actually listen to their body. So like what Sarah's saying is like, Lucy, if you find at 40 miles your body feels beat up, guess what? We don't need to check with Coach Sarah or with like Garmin. You're telling me it's too much for you, and you can trust your body. And that's the right answer, period, right? You don't need any more information other than what your body is telling you. So I think it's hard to stand up for yourself in that way, because you're like, who am I? I'm not like Coach Sarah. I'm not the running expert, but you're the Lucy expert. Like, you're the expert of your body, Lucy. So I loved that answer. That was awesome. Carolyn is kind of making a helpful statement to you guys. She's telling us that she's slower when she first goes out, which I think is totally aligned with what Coach Sarah was saying, helping you to warm up in the beginning. And she's saying she's using Tailwind plus honey, which she's taking every 2 miles to prevent hitting the wall. So I think this is advice for our friend Mark. And that kind of makes sense. I don't know how long it takes you to run 2 miles, Carolyn, but generally we'd want to refuel every 30 minutes, and you'd want to take in about 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrate. It depends. Once we start into getting to ultra distances, it gets a little different. So it sounds like the Tailwind plus honey, you probably would be in that 20-something gram range, which is why you probably felt awesome. So everyone has to find their own fueling plan, because some people, they use Tailwind and they feel sick to their belly. Some people can eat honey and they feel fine. So you guys, it's all about practice, 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 and figuring out what makes you feel awesome in your body. And once you figure it out, you've got the solution, which is awesome.
Absolutely. I can't advocate for that enough. I, again, ran my first marathon last summer and learned so many lessons the hard way. I suffered from heat stroke. I suffered from dehydration. I didn't fuel properly. I did it all wrong so that I could learn to do it right. And if you are the type of person that says like, oh, I don't feel tired on my runs, or I don't get thirsty, really just give it a shot, because you'll notice you feel so much better, and you'll look back at your runs and say, wow, okay, that's what it actually means to feel tired. I was just so used to it. But yes, and again, like you said, Serena, it can be really hard trial and error to find what works best for you. But it seems like both of us have dabbled with quite a few supplements. So if you guys have any requests for recommendations, we'd be happy to help out with that.
Yeah, I think we should definitely do a training on that in your running group, so that we can talk about, fueling options and why fueling is important and how it can kind of prevent you from hitting the wall. And yeah, I like what you just said. Maybe you don't hit the wall, but maybe you just notice, wow, I feel so much better. And who doesn't want to feel as great as possible?
Exactly.
Awesome, darling. So let's wrap this up. Can you tell everyone where to find you, how to sign up for your awesome training program?
Yes. So if anyone's interested in signing up for training, I'm offering $20 off to all of Serena's group. So what you do is you just have to go to mindfulmilesrunning.com/run club, and the code is Serena Marie. It expires on Wednesday though, so make sure you guys sign up soon. Again, if you want to follow me, we have a Facebook page. It's just Mindful Miles Running, and you can find me on Instagram at Mindful Miles Sarah. But I look forward to connecting with all of you, and thank you so much for all of your great questions.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for participating. We'll talk to Sarah again soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.